Am like clockwork. I always wait for my phone to notify me that you've gone live. There it is. All right. Ladies and gentlemen,
the EriDan Film Festival.
It is time for the EriDan Film Festival Monday night. Time to discuss your favorite, your not so favorite movies. A look into the deep, seedy underbelly of political movies tonight, as we have a double feature.
A lot to say about these two.
I think there is a lot to say about these two. I think this is going to be an interesting night, even if you've not seen either one of our movies. But if you have, we're going to invite you to be part of the conversation, and we're going to talk a little bit as we get into things.
All right, let's start the show.
Let's go. All right, there we are, Mr. Dan Rosenberg.
Mr. So, we do comedy shows every comedy movies.
Yes, primarily we have only ever done reviews of comedy movies.
And I think we've broken that.
Oh, really?
I mean, the campaign was very funny.
So we watched the movies we watched this week were the election from quite a while ago, 1999. Is that correct?
Election.
Yes, 1999, the election, and starring Reese Witherspoon and what's his name? Matthew Broderick. Thank you. Amongst a couple of other people, and the campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, amongst some other people. So the campaign, obviously a much more mainstream comedy, and also more recent, 2012. The election, 1999, an MTV production that does 100% feel like an MTV production.
Yeah, MTV films.
Yes.
Music, television.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many other films were done by MTV Films, or if they're still even producing films.
They warned us that election was a dark comedy. It was dark.
It is dark. It is dark, and it's not. You know, I will say, you know, there are some themes that I saw through both of these movies. Primarily, and I think this is probably true in almost any political comedy, hardly any likable characters. At the most part, everybody is doing something terrible outside of one particular character in the election who's actually probably the nicest person throughout the film. But everybody else is pretty despicable. And the same with the campaign. You know, that there's really nobody of virtue or value or somebody as a hero that you would want to root for. At the end of the day, they're all terrible, and they're all willing to do whatever they need to do in a political or a school setting. So you did not enjoy the election. I definitely get a vibe.
Something to enjoy it. I don't know.
Now, is your audio being weird? I need to ask people in the comments if Dan's audio is being weird or if it's my connection here.
Well, your video is all choppy.
Am I choppy?
You're a little bit choppy.
Am I a little bit choppy? I'm a little chachi. I'm having a hard time hearing back from you. And Dan says, "Yep, bad audio." Yep. So it feels like you're cutting in and out for me. Like, I know I'm related, but people know what I look like, so that's okay. I just want to make sure we're hearing all of your. There we go. All right, so we're between us. We've got a great feed going on.
It would have helped if I would have actually had my microphone on.
Now you sound fantastic.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So
my audio was coming through my laptop, which is closed.
Yeah, you're gonna have to live with me being unattractive. I have no idea what's going on here with my.
Yeah, so I had good video, bad audio. Eric had bad video, good audio, and here we are.
And here we are. Yes,
I did wear my political shirt.
I noticed that. So I think the
David.
challenge being the night before the election is to talk about both of these movies without having any political discussion whatsoever. We do not spend all evening making direct correlations to what is happening in our world today, although there were some correlations in these movies. So let's talk a little bit about the election first. So, I mean, I watched this, I believe, Thursday. So it's been a few days. I've had to sit back and think about this. You know, what's funny is it feels like a movie from, I'm trying to disconnect some of my computers here to see if maybe that helps. I feel like the election, I mean, obviously you've got Matthew Broderick in a school, which is kind of humorous after Ferris Bueller to see him as a teacher figure. You've got a very young Reese Witherspoon as your, sorry, it is not the election. Sorry, it is the movie.
I've been saying that, but you couldn't hear me.
Sorry, no, you couldn't hear you. So, you know, and it's, you know, it's not Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians either, but we'll get over it. I will probably say the election about 7 times.
Then you'll call the next movie Campaign. Okay.
Another one, Campaign, absolutely. It feels like a movie from 1999. You know, it's certainly not a timeless movie. It felt to me like, yeah, it's not terrible. I didn't feel like it was a bad movie, but it certainly didn't feel fresh. It didn't feel, you know, I said, I wasn't rooting for anybody.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a few things about this movie that are interesting.
Shoot.
First is that they filmed it in a real high school.
Okay.
During high school, like during the school day.
Nice. What's that?
It was at Papillon La Vista Senior High School in Omaha, Nebraska. Sounds like someplace George Costanza's parents would have gone to high school. Papillon La Vista Seniors. All right. Adjacent classrooms had real classes going on. And in the soundtrack, some background noises come from real teachers and students.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it was MTV, right? MTV in the late 90s, you know, they had gotten seriously away from music at that point. And so they were, you know.
Now, this is funny. In the gym scenes, since the extras were actual high school students, the director, Alexander Payne, faced a problem of not having enough of them because it was SAT season.
Oh.
A, and B, people realize how boring it is to be an extra in a movie.
As you know.
Yes. So they did what they did during the movie Sudden Death in the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. They took groups of people and they kept moving them around.
That's awesome.
And the custodian in the movie, Lauren Nelson, was actually the custodian at the high school.
Seriously?
Oh, no, he was at Duchesne, not Duquesne, Duchesne Academy in Omaha. There's a lot of interesting little facts about this.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it's one of those movies that I would not necessarily recommend to people, but I don't necessarily hate myself for watching it. I mean, there's some interesting takeaways. Obviously, you've got some actors coming up and some, you know, some established actors already. How young was Reese Witherspoon during this movie? Do we have you?
Well, let's see. Reese Witherspoon, who is
well, she was born in
1976, so she's
23. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's a lot of vodka. Woo.
Well, maybe you should have watched that before you watched Election.
Yeah. I just went to. I actually got carded just now. Can you believe that? I ran in to grab. I was out of my Tito's vodka, and because I had the face mask on, they carded me.
Wow. Well, you are very youthful.
Now, there are a couple of actors in there that I don't know if you recognize them for other bit parts. Now, obviously, Chris Klein went on and did a lot more.
Yes, obviously. And I think he obviously clearly is the only likable character throughout the movie. If you do like him, I guess,
There's a lot of dirtiness in it.
There's some, and I know how pure you are. I know how you don't enjoy the purity. I see now Adam Jones is taking, he feels like we're poo-pooing a really good dark comedy.
I'm not poo-pooing it, Adam. For something to be a dark comedy, you have to laugh at some point. There's nothing that really made me laugh in this movie. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I'm saying it was a bad comedy movie.
In every way as a comedy.
Right. To me, a comedy is something you laugh. Even dark comedies, you laugh at still. You find some humor in them.
I mean, there is definitely some takeaways. There are some lines that I thought were clever in this movie. There wasn't a lot of laugh out loud moments. There was just, for me, it went a lot to those territories where it's like, oh, is he really gonna? Oh yeah, he's really gonna, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, But I feel like it all worked within this movie. Again, not one of my favorite movies, certainly, but I felt like it worked. Now, what about the campaign?
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, you still want to stay on the?
I just want a couple more. I was trying to get to this quick thing. There are two actors in this movie that were very familiar faces.
Who were the familiar faces?
One played Dave Novotny, the guy that was sleeping with her originally.
Yes.
Do you recognize him from?
Nope.
He was the tennis instructor on Seinfeld that couldn't play tennis. And Jerry would end up sleeping with his wife or something.
Yep.
And then Walt Hendricks, the principal, played by actor Phil Reeves, is the guy who plays the weird. He's been in a lot of things, but he plays the weird football coach in Toyota commercials, and he looks like Jerry Sandusky.
Right. Yeah, but he makes a great principal.
Great principal. He was also on the TV show Veep.
I think the casting on this was dead on. I don't feel like there was a casting issue. I don't feel like there was many issues per se. It's just not necessarily my, it was like, it was over and it was like, okay. It was sort of my reaction from it. Right. I didn't, it wasn't like, oh, that was really rewarding. It was just like, oh, okay. Now Dave enjoyed the part of Jim rushing off to prep his motel for the perfect date while giving his students a pop quiz. There's the immediate thing I thought of during that scene was, I wonder if I had teachers who ran off to do personal errands during school when they would throw a quiz or throw on a movie and they left and didn't come back for 40 minutes. Did they ever actually leave the building to go do stuff? Maybe. Who knows?
As Debbie Gibson once said, anything is possible.
It is so very true. So then our other movie is The Campaign, which is, talk about wildly different movies. Obviously, Election is a high school setting. This is a more, government setting. And Will Ferrell. And here comes the Will Ferrell discussion. Where I did enjoy The Campaign a lot more. For me, The Campaign is a more purposeful, funny movie, right? Like it's going to have the yucks for the laughs, right? And not the more, kind of humor that we had in Election. And I like The Election, but my problem with it is Will Ferrell is playing one of 7 other characters that he could have easily been playing. It could have been, Ron Burgundy becomes a senator. It could have been Bobby. I forgot Bobby's name already. Jeez Louise. Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby becomes a senator, right? It's like, yeah, it's the same, womanizing, partially stupid, kind of, weird character. And Adam Jones says the same thing. And you got the baby punching and you got the dog punching and you got, and not that stuff's not funny, but it's Will Ferrell being the Will Ferrell character, right? And I feel like, and I love Zach Galifianakis, and I feel without him in this movie would have been really hard for me. Like,
yeah.
like, that it all worked because of the relationship between the two lead characters. I feel without that, this would have been a bad movie. Yeah.
Well, this one I liked a lot better. I laughed out loud several times. With today's political world, there's a lot of reality in this movie on both sides. I'm not saying that, because they made fun of Republicans and Democrats and people following the money and, how money controls politics. Absolutely.
Nope. Nobody was pure on this movie either.
Yeah. The cool thing was the exterior shot of Mach Mansion, the Mach brothers, which I love that Dan Aykroyd was one of them.
Yes, Dan Aykroyd and Jim Lithgow, John Lithgow, Jim. I call him Jim. They were a fantastic combo in that role. I could have used more of them in this movie.
Well, what was good though too is that if you think of like Trading Places, where the two old rich guys,
yes,
screwed over Dan Aykroyd, and now he's an old rich guy in this one.
It made my wife really want to watch Trading Places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I still can't figure out how the orange juice thing works, but that's a whole other
story.
Other thing. But the exterior shot of their mansion is the exterior of Bruce Wayne's mansion in the old Batman show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was a high school in Nebraska. No, I had no idea.
That too. Do you know what the budget was?
I didn't get a chance to. I've looked up no information on either one of these movies. So I don't know anything about either one. What was the budget for the campaign?
$95 million.
Yeah, those are some top tier talents you've got there.
Yeah, and the Koch brothers were barely. Yeah, the Mach brothers,
right?
The Koch brothers. One of my favorite things was the very end during the credits. Tim Whatley is said to be a Greek fugitive, which Zach Galifianakis is actually a Greek guy. And he goes by all the aliases that Tim Whatley has used. And one of them is Dermot Mulrooney, which in real life, McDermott is confused with Dermot Mulrooney because of the name Dylan McDermott.
Now, I would say he's fabulous in this.
He is great in comedy.
He's absolutely fantastic in this. So
the Asian housekeeper had to talk like an old black woman. That was hysterical.
That was a good shtick. So you said 92 million for
95 million, and it was only 85 minutes. It was over $1 million a minute.
It is a short movie. It goes by really quickly. And Election, the budget for Election was 8.5 million.
But adjusted for inflation, that's
it's less. Something to keep in mind, though. And Election feels that way. Election doesn't feel like a big budget movie. It feels very MTV Films.
Yeah.
So you've posted the link. This is a great
link
for people to join in the conversation. Give your thoughts, defend or demolish, or say that you've only seen one or two or none of these and you never want to watch these movies. Maybe it's what you're going to do tomorrow because, why not?
I loved Zach's character. His family, the dining room table confessions.
All of the confessions were good.
Because they probably had 90 that they didn't show.
It's probably true. They probably the kids probably were very well scripted. But I really should have studied up on some names tonight. I'm going to look over the cast and I'll share my comment for a second. You can go on ahead.
Well, I thought it was cool that Thomas Middleditch from Silicon Valley was the guy working in the tourism office with him. He was basically a no one. That was probably one of his early roles.
I'm not sure I know who Thomas Middleditch is.
What about Jack McBrayer, who was the?
That's what I was just looking up. Was Jack McBrayer? That his role in this was fantastic and so well placed. And so, it's definitely your more comedy. It's your more mainstream comedy. Now, did I miss John Goodman, or was I?
At the very end, John Goodman is another congressman who's having problems, and they're like, "Oh,
yes,
find someone else."
He was, yeah, that's correct. That is, I mean, it is definitely, it's hard not to compare the two, but really these are so wildly different.
One's dark and one's a comedy.
You didn't give a single laugh during election?
I mean, there were things that were kind of funny in it, but I don't know. Adam said that I will watch the campaign again. I won't watch election again.
You're a car guy? You don't like him getting the car instead of the house in the divorce?
That car.
That car.
That car was pretty amazing, I will say. I mean, they had me up to the bee sting, and then I had a hard time watching.
The bee sting was sort of gratuitous. It was just there to sort of push him further down, make his descent even more complete without any real purpose to it.
Right.
So yeah, I said in the comments, my main complaint, it's a small thing, but it bugged me with election, was they didn't trust the audience enough. When at the end, near the end, when they go to the office where they have found the 2 missing votes, and the janitor's standing in there and just looks at him, why did they have to show the flashback to him throwing the garbage on the floor? Like, hey, remember, we did this earlier, just in case you forgot. That bugged me.
I felt like that wasn't significant enough, because, I mean, you didn't really know that he left that. You didn't actually see him leave the kitchen and leave that on the floor behind him.
Sure, yeah, when you saw the look on the janitor's face when he saw it happen, I immediately said to myself, and I had seen this movie maybe 15 years ago, I immediately said to myself, oh, that's going to come back. That's going to come back and haunt him, that he did something that made the janitor dislike him. But they felt the need to do the explicit, hey, we're telling a joke here, don't miss this.
Hey, don't forget, he left some food on the floor.
Yep.
Yeah, my mom agrees.
Yeah, you and your mom have a very similar point of view on this one.
Adam has a very good point.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's funny because I was looking up some quotes, which I did not capture any, but I did look up some quotes for this, and there are some quotes from this that I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good line. Oh yeah, that was a good line. Right? Like there were bits like that I saw. I'm getting a lot of echo. I don't know why, but nonetheless, there were a lot of bits like that I'm like, yeah, there were some clever lines in there. Like Tracy Flick saying, it's like my mom says, the weak are always trying to sabotage the strong.
Well, and her mom, when she thought she'd lost the election and she went home, and her mom immediately is like, okay, it's because you didn't listen to me. We'll have to work on this more. And you realize how much her character is formed by her mother driving her constantly.
Yeah, I mean, it's I said, I in no way feel it was a bad movie. I did feel it was a comedy in its own right, but it's not a Will Ferrell comedy, right? It is clearly a completely different genre of comedy. That it's hard to see. It's hard to compare the two because they are in such stark contrast to each other. It's like watching Ernest Goes to Camp and then Moulin Rouge. I mean, these are wildly different movies.
Wow, that's a great mashup.
I just think that I honestly, for like halfway into the movie, I started looking up to see if there's another movie called Election. I thought maybe I was watching the wrong movie.
Wow.
Because I'm like this. It just doesn't seem funny.
No, I did find it funnier than that.
Who suggested it?
I didn't. Did I?
I think it came from the comments.
Yeah. Because I remember responding at the time that's a pretty dark comedy, but
yeah, it is.
Nothing wrong with that. A good dark comedy can be fun.
That's what I find interesting about this, because I'm not sure I would have sought it out and watched it on my own. So I love the fact that somebody suggested that, and we got to watch something that we might not have watched otherwise, and maybe appreciation for something new, or gave us an understanding of something we didn't enjoy.
So, going back to the campaign,
Yes.
Tim Watley, who was the campaign manager of Zach Galifianakis early on, Dylan McDermott. Tim Watley is the same name as Bryan Cranston's character on Seinfeld, the dentist, Tim Watley.
Very interesting.
And Jason Sudeikis was also very good.
Yes, he's good. I like him in everything.
I do too. Yeah.
And
Yes.
Zach Galifianakis. Will Ferrell, you're right. Will Ferrell has 3 characters. You said 7. I say 3. This one was a little George Bush-ish even.
Oh, no, I'm just saying he's done this character in 7 different movies, is what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
That's part of his strategery.
Yes.
That's right. And it's just, I don't hate it, you know, but if it would have been if this would have been much more of any more of a Will Ferrell movie, this movie would have completely failed for me. You know, the fact that there were so many other good elements in this movie, it was like, okay, Will Ferrell, you get a pass for pulling out that character again, and doing the same kind of shtick. Because otherwise, you know, I don't think I would have made it through it.
I will say that even though you said that, I assume you're referring to Paul when you said there was only one likable character in the 2 movies.
Yes.
I do think Marty was a mostly likable character. Yes, he was flawed. He let the momentary rush of fame go to his head a bit, but it didn't last very long. He deflated pretty quickly.
Yeah, in the campaign, you know, Zach Galifianakis' character actually does come, you know, is probably, he's weird.
Well, he's weird, yes.
So weird.
And also Will Ferrell's campaign manager, the Jason Sudeikis character, I felt was fairly likable. He clearly was in a position,
Likable.
he had limits, and the people around him didn't. The Mach brothers didn't. Will Ferrell didn't. He hit his limit, which is, you know, sort of refreshing to see in someone involved at that level of politics.
I would say the majority of the characters in both movies were despicable in one way or another. In Election, almost everybody, like almost everybody, is just deplorable, or in one way, or for some reason or another. It's like, how can we show how terrible this person is, and how can we make this person terrible? And let's have.
I don't know. I think you're.
And this person, you know,
I don't think Tammy in Election was despicable. Paul's sister, who was the third person running.
Oh no, I did like her character.
See, there's. I think you're missing some of them. There are more than you remember.
I felt her character could have been more.
There are more good characters than there is laughs. I'll say that.
I felt her character. Her character had some great lines and some great moments, but it was such a side little, just a little story.
And there was also some telegraphing there. When they showed her watching the girls' soccer team play, I immediately knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
you know, it was no secret.
No, you're right. At the end of the day, there are some, but the majority of the major characters. Let me say that there's some side characters that were fine, but the majority of the main characters, and I think that was kind of the point of it being movies about politics, was to make it so that neither side was pure, was ideal, and I think that's part of the message. That's part of the idea.
Is it me, Dan?
I'm realizing, yeah, your microphone, your speaker is too loud, I think.
Yep. I can try to adjust for that.
We're breaking all the audio limits here. We do talk.
Or I can mute whenever Eric's talking. I can just mute you.
Or I can just mute when I'm not talking.
Oh, we could do that. That happened today. I was on a business call, and one person there, it was just they were causing feedback because they had their speaker up so loud.
Yeah.
But
no one wanted to tell them.
Adam Jones points out that Will Ferrell is the new Adam Sandler, and yeah, I kind of get that.
There's some truth to that.
But wouldn't Adam Sandler be the new Will Ferrell? Sort of.
They're pretty much contemporaries, actually.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, I feel like they're both.
They're on SNL together.
They both gravitate towards a kind of movie that gives them a very similar character. They're not, you know, they not that they don't have the ability to have a range, but most of their commercial movies don't feature any type of range as far as acting goes. They rely on a certain kind of humor and a certain kind of, character, and they pull out that character a lot, but it works. I mean, how much did the campaign make? Did you look up what is the box office?
That I didn't look up. Adam makes a good point that he likes movies with no redeeming characters. I don't remember, Adam. Do you like Seinfeld or not? Because that show has no redeeming characters.
Interesting question as well. You see, I like The Hero, right? I guess I'm used to The Hero.
The campaign did 104.9 million. Or did you ask what election did?
Well, both. So you said the campaign only made 104 million?
Yeah, 105 basically. So it made
$10 million.
$10 million. And election did 17.2. So
yeah, you made about 10 million on their project, right? So I mean, and Adam says no, he is not a Seinfeld fan.
But if you like no redeeming characters, Seinfeld's your comedy.
But I mean, well, I don't think that's the sole characteristic of a movie he enjoys. There might have to be something.
I remember years ago, I think it was, if you remember, Dabney Coleman had sitcom after sitcom, and none of them lasted longer than a season or so.
Yep.
And I remember reading a reviewer, I think it was in TV Guide, saying, and I think they were comparing it to something like whether it was Faulty Towers or whether it was Absolutely Fabulous, saying, for some reason, the Brits have figured out how to take unlikable characters and build series around them, and the Americans have not. Now, this was pre-Seinfeld, but there was certainly some truth to that. There are a lot of British shows where you look at everybody and go, man, what miserable people.
But they don't do 24 episodes a season.
That is certainly true.
24 episodes might be 6 seasons for them.
That's fair.
So those are our movies this week. We now have to rate them.
All right. This is going to be the most interesting part, I think, of the evening.
Dan and Adam are definitely going to differ on election.
Yeah. Which is part of the conversation, right?
Again, I don't think it's a terrible movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I think you rate this based on your experience. And I think that's okay. I'm going to bring up the big list here so we can see where we have rated movies so far.
Remember the difference on Take the Money and Run, where Eric could barely bear to talk about it.
Again, I think that's part of what makes this interesting, and I think that's why I think if either one of us made our own movie list, it would differ probably greatly from the list that's in front of us.
Although I think Howard the Duck would still be on the bottom.
I don't know. I've had some thoughts about that.
You've reconsidered Howard the Duck.
I was trying to find a duck costume for Halloween. I couldn't find one.
You see, you missed it. Couldn't find something to fit the bill. Okay.
Which one are we rating first?
Let's do election chronologically.
All right.
So 1999, Reese Witherspoon, Matthew Broderick.
Go ahead, Eric. You can start it.
Am I going to start this?
Sure.
I'm going to start this, and I'm going to give it a 78.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, honestly, when it was over, it wasn't like I didn't hate it. Yeah, I didn't love it. It's like, yeah, that's a C, C plus. There's some good lines in there. I felt pretty good about it. I said I didn't. It's not going to make my top 10, but I felt pretty good about it. So I'm going with a C plus.
All right.
I'm at 70.
All right, that's a 70 from Dave.
And I was tempted to go even a little lower, but 70 is about as low as I'm willing to give it.
All right, so Adam Jones is going with an 82, and Dan's mom is going with a 45.
I'm getting a little better than my mom.
Okay, you enjoyed it a
little.
Give
it a 4 to 5. I'm going to give it a 61.
61, not too bad. So it's
if in the context of EriDan movies, if you watched a movie that you liked but didn't find funny at all, would it get a low rating? Because as a comedy, it failed.
Well, these are comedies. We're basing these on. This is a comedy list of funny movies.
Yeah.
Well, but
now, if I was just doing movies, or I was doing, this was more of a maybe I don't even know if you can call it a rom-com. I can't even call it that.
No.
See,
A
but
dramedy, maybe.
the funny thing for me, like, so if we were, because my my rating in my mind as I think about this is either just overall how enjoyable it was, right? Not solely on how funny it was, right? You know, like I'm not giving scores per laugh. Or this.
Oh, I do. I keep track of everyone.
Yeah, he has a little clicker. Every time he laughs, he clicks it so he can tally it up at the end, right?
So if anybody else wants to throw in a rating into the comments section for Election, we will make sure we add that into the list. So far, it's not doing really well.
At this point, if you put it in for either film, type in what film you're talking about as well.
Because yeah, we're gonna move.
Now we're gonna move on to the campaign.
All right, so
Dave, you go first with the campaign.
Ooh, okay. Campaign, I enjoyed for being what it was, which is a fairly lacking in ambition comedy. So in its own way, a little more successful than Election, and hence I'm going 75.
All right. 75 from Dave. How about you, Dan? Where do you want to put campaign?
I liked campaign. I liked. I laughed a lot. There were good characters in it. There's good comedy. I'm going to give it an 81.
Okay.
And part of what I think of too is, would I rewatch the campaign?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel that same way. It gets an 80 from me. It definitely was better overall, I think, but it's still Will Ferrell brings it down probably 5 points for me. Just
see, I don't feel as much about, because even though that character was one of Will Ferrell's, go-tos, or pretty much his go-to, it at least worked in that role, because he was playing such an over-the-top, sycophantic, just despicable.
Yeah, there was a couple of tropes that they used for Will Ferrell that they've used just in the character. So many other characters have had the same either flaws or same kind of, and it's just like, all right, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, you got a mistress, yeah, okay, yeah. And it's like, yeah, we've seen this, and it's just like, all right, that's fine.
One of my favorite scenes was when they were watching the two possible political ads that were being created for him. Those were hysterical.
I love that they replaced. I love when he came in and redecorated his house.
Yes. And yeah, get rid of the pugs.
Yeah.
And they show them staring from the upstairs window.
Yeah.
Yes, that bit was great. There's a lot. I said I would probably never watch either one of these movies again, though.
I might watch the campaign again, but I wouldn't. I don't know that I would watch Election again.
Yeah.
But elections and campaigns, I don't want to watch anything involved with either of those for at least 3 years.
Absolutely not. I think we've all had plenty. So, all right, I think we've got our scores. I'm going to bring up the board here so we can see this, where these two fine films land. So campaign did score slightly higher and comes in at a 74. So just below Game Night, which I am totally comfortable with. I did prefer Game Night slightly more.
Back to the Future 2 keeps dropping.
Yeah, Back to the Future 2 does keep getting.
I love Back to the Future 2.
And then we're going to look at.
I want a recount. Can we do a recount?
There's
a hanging Chad somewhere.
We could revisit a movie every 4 years.
Okay.
And then Election comes in at a 67. So it is going to be right below the Bellboy.
Right above Bill and Ted.
Right above Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Which probably doesn't sit well with anybody for one reason or another.
Wow. Yeah.
But hey, you know what? That's the way it crumbles. So
Cookie-wise.
All right, are we ready to talk about next
You ready?
week?
Let's just play it. Here it goes.
Let's go. Let's visit the wheel.
Thank you for calling Movie Phone.
Exactly.
It is the wheel of Reel. Wait,
The Wheel of Reels.
so hard to say.
It is hard to say. Sponsored in part by pickerwheel.com. The fine
Pickerwheel.com for all your spinning needs.
It
So,
is all your
so the way it works, to explain it again,
yes, please, Dan. You can take it.
is each and every week, whoever's watching the show
Yep,
live can suggest a film for the future watching enjoyment of all of us. It will then go on the wheel of reel.
Right, reels like movie reels.
Movie reels, yes. And once
Stretch
it's
this.
on there, it never comes off until we watch it. So
Right.
each week we'll add more. At some point, we'll have 90 movies spinning on this little wheel.
At least maybe more. Who knows? So it needs to be a comedy, and it can't
Right.
be so incredibly obscure that it's only available on Laserdisc. It needs to be available somewhere in the world, even if it's for purchase. So if it's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 2, we might not be able to add that to the wheel because that's not available.
So everybody watching gets one vote.
Yep.
Each week. And let's go over what we have so far.
All right. So far, here, do you want to, I think I can share what we've got so far. Let me see if this is going to work. Hopefully. I hate it when it does that. Let me see this. Here we go. There we go. There's our wheel. And so far on the wheel is Fletch. It's Complicated, Clerks, Spies Like Us, Austin Powers, and What's Up, Doc?
Now, the question is, do we spin it now for next week's movie, or do we add all of these movies first?
He's in. I think we add them in.
We always add first, and then...
Yeah, we add more, so there's even more chances. So maybe, you never know. Every night you get a chance to throw some more options on the wheel.
All right, so Adam Jones wants Three Amigos.
Three Amigos.
Good choice.
Which
Very
is,
good choice.
That
Adam has been lobbying for months now.
Yep, absolutely.
all right. Susan Rosenberg would like Along Came Polly.
Nice. Then I think we'll have to verify the availability of the movies if it comes up on the wheel. I think
That's an 04 film. It's on Hulu.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Dan, do you have your movie choice for the week? I know there's such pressure, there's such agony over, and I just screwed something up. There's such agony in trying to choose. Thank you. But I think the important thing to remember is that everybody gets a chance. Eventually, here I got too much going on here on my computer screen. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I was verifying my own movie choice. I should have turned that off first. But that's okay.
Do you want to go ahead and give yours first?
I am verifying the title of mine.
Oh, well, that's good that you don't even know the title.
Well, it's got Will Ferrell in it, where he's playing that guy.
Ron Burgundy. No, you know how it goes.
You're stalling. Quit stalling.
I'm stalling. It's going to take me a second.
Okay. I will then step in and take some low-hanging fruit to put up The Princess Bride.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice.
Very dark comedy.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Ooh, it's willing to put dark green next to dark green. That's a bad algorithm.
Oh, that is weird.
We're going to need to add some extra stuff in there.
All right, I will go with Trading Places.
Oh, there you go. Oh, my wife will be so excited that you've thrown that into the mix.
Because I really want to figure out the Orange Futures thing, because I'm still a little confused by it. And I think if I watch it for the eighth time, I'll finally figure out how they screwed over the old guys over Orange Juice Futures.
I think I do understand that.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember that part of the movie, but we will save that until that comes up. There it is. Thank you very much. So you are putting in
good choice.
Trading Places. You type, that would be nice. And I am
My mom put in a movie called It's Free. No, I'm sorry. That's just about the
Sick.
Yes. That's a good film. Yep.
Wanted to make sure I got the title correct on that.
What's it called?
The Big Sick.
Oh.
Yeah, how about that? I'm mixing it up a little bit.
Yep.
So, and my sister Margaret has a movie called Meet the Patels,
which is, I think, unique amongst the movies on the wheel so far in that it is not a fiction. It is more or less a semi-documentary.
Ooh,
but it is very funny and very good.
That's the criteria. So I think that's excellent.
So is it like Meet the Parents, but from India?
Sure. Complete with the Indian Robert De Niro.
Are you talking to me? I'm sorry.
It is me, I believe you are talking to.
Is it?
I do have a funny Patel story, but I'll save it. No, I'll tell it. So there's a character in our sitcom named Tony, who's based on a real guy. And I one time called him up. I was doing the hacky Indian accent. And I'm like, this is Dr. Patel. He goes, yes, Dr. Patel, how are you? He had no idea who I was, but he sold Lexuses and he had tons of clients named Dr. Patel. So
of course,
chances are I was right.
Nice.
All right, so now we have to spin the wheel, don't we?
This is our last call. If I think we've got everybody who's going to.
Anybody else want to put one in? Put it
to throw in a
movie
the list. We will add it to the list, and we're about to spin the wheel here. So
the suspense.
It is exciting, right?
Why does it keep coming up on Eric's movies? I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, that's the beauty of. Let's going to do this again. Gonna have to work on the transitions here. Okay, so
then we'll check the availability after you pick one.
We have the option to shuffle the list, so I will shuffle the list first, so that the movies are not in the orders that we've added them in. To add even more. So there are
so much more random now,
and more random, and we will spin the wheel. I want to make sure. I believe we're ready. Here we go. Get ready. Here comes the wheel spin.
Oh, get sound effects.
Go for it, Vanna.
Oh, and there we go. How about that? It is Dave's choice from last week. What's up, Doc? Dave, tell us about this movie.
I'm seeing the availability right now. It is Ryan O'Neal and Barbara Streisand.
Okay, so this is not even.
It is from 1972.
Nice.
It is a throwback to the screwball comedies of the 30s.
Oh, interesting.
Peter Bogdanovich. We watched it maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
And it was as good as I remembered it being. I don't know what Margaret thought of it. Don't recall. But I enjoyed it greatly.
You might hear about that later tonight. You never know.
I might indeed.
Would you?
Oh, and Madeline Kahn.
Oh, excellent.
Always good. Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, can you watch a trailer on YouTube without being tagged?
I think we've guessed that you should be able to, because trailers are intended to be advertising. So
sure, you want to give it
widely disseminated. For example, I don't think I've ever seen them do takedown notices on trailers on YouTube.
If we get kicked off, that's the end of the show.
All right, so I'll play the trailer.
All right, let's watch the trailer. Maybe
the official trailer for the movie.
All right.
Make sure I share audio. That
would do the Lucille Ball comedy, the big trailer. Or is the big trailer?
All right.
Here we go.
And
be prepared.
Come on.
Actually,
loud.
Where did it go?
Here we go.
And this is Ryan O'Neal. You remember him from Love Story and Hayden Place and Games, and The Big Bounce was one of his bigger hits. Also a Warner Barbara Streisand over here. You remember her from Funny Face? Excuse me, Funny Girl. She spells it without an A. How was that, Bobby? Yeah, good. I'd like it to be faster.
This is San Francisco, the city chosen by one of the most brilliant, sensitive new generation of filmmakers, Peter Bogdanovich, for his maiden comedy effort, What's Up, Doc?, starring Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal.
Hurry, I can't see! Well, there's not much to see, actually. We're inside a Chinese dragon.
Any experienced observer of shooting techniques
that hurt your heart?
That's not that's a tragedy for Dan.
Yeah,
Showmanship and slapdash of the old Hollywood.
I like how they're showing behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, in the trailer.
Just trying to sound like an...
Yes, there's a pie fight.
There's a pie in the face.
For you, I'm Peter Bogdanovich.
Peter Bogdanovich.
This little picture we're making today is What's Up, Doc? Called What's Up, Doc. See what I mean?
So Bugs Bunny is not in this?
No. No Bugs Bunny.
Just spoiled the end, man. No spoilers.
What's the word I say? Isn't it action? Oh, action. I can't find my rocks.
Let's check the cases.
Which ones?
All of them.
Here, too, none of the catch-as-catch-can, do-it-anyway attitudes of former filmmakers. Here, instead, is a skilled artist, sophisticated in his craft, using the camera as Heifetz uses a Stradivarius. The relationship between star and director is no longer, as in the old days, one of master and slave. Here, mutual respect between the artist-director and the artist-stars make possible an exquisitely honed response.
You must remember this.
So the trailer is all about the director.
A kiss is still a kiss.
In a rare glimpse of two artists at work, we are afforded an insight into how director Peter Bogdanovich, working with stars Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal, can manage to put these two performers together and create that almost inexplainable thing, which is most simply described as a motion picture called What's Up, Doc?
We're going to tell you nothing about the movie.
But a lot about the director.
I wonder if they'll remake this with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
You know what? It might work.
I like the idea that they're just basically showing there's all...
You don't have to worry about getting a ton of spoilers this way.
Yeah.
Adam is not excited.
Well, Adam, this is the new rule. He says, oof.
Oof. This will be a new opportunity to watch something you normally wouldn't have watched.
It's a long trailer.
It is a long trailer.
That's like 3 minutes and 45 seconds for a trailer.
The trailer that gave Will Smith.
And we're not being kicked off yet.
I mean, I love the idea. I like the idea of this trailer, which is we're not going to spoil the movie for you. We're not going to give you all the best bits, but we're going to show you that these were funny people making a funny movie.
So it's right up there with cheese rolling for Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting approach. I'm curious if that's actually what they played in the theater. You know, but I mean, based on that, I don't know. I'm half prepared to really like this movie, and the other half of me isn't sure.
I do not necessarily think that everyone's going to love it, but I think it will mostly get a positive reaction.
There you go. Well, I think that's what makes this interesting, is an opportunity to watch movies that are outside of your norm. I mean, I can watch Avengers Endgame 40 times a week, but I love the opportunity to get a chance to see Election. You know, at the end of the day, I'm you know,
and jumping from this to, you know, you'll spin Clerks next week, and it'll be a major whiplash.
Absolutely. Well, I think that'll definitely be the sake if we use the wheel for a double feature.
Oh my!
One Whiplash, and some very interesting comparisons of movies for every week. But I think that's also part of the adventure that you get to enjoy with us here. You know, so we are going to remove this movie from the wheel of movies, and next week we will add more suggestions to the movie wheel, and
so next week we'll add more to the
I'm putting all my money on black.
Always bet on black.
always.
I'm wondering when we eventually get to it, and it might take a few months, if The Princess Bride will be one of those movies, sort of like Back to the Future was, that everybody likes it to differing degrees, but that's one of those movies. I don't know if I've ever known anyone that doesn't at least like The Princess Bride.
Yeah. Now,
it's hard to say it.
I don't want to give away too much about next week's movie, but Randy Quaid is in the movie, and Sorrel Book is in the movie. Do you know who Sorrel Book is, ladies and gentlemen? Also known as, why am I forgetting his name?
Also known as
Jefferson Davis Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Eric will be able to get his car collection out again.
I could.
Kenneth Mars is in it. Good comedic actor.
Yeah. So it should be a fun movie.
And John Hillerman.
Oh, John Hillerman's in it.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it's Bogdanovich. He was certainly a very, well-respected director, so he got some big names for very small roles, as they often do, which was one of the fun things actually about the campaign, was a lot of the small, big actors like John Goodman in very small parts, and Jack McBrayer.
Yeah.
That definitely elevated that by several points, was all the small roles that did such a good job.
Absolutely.
John Hillerman, of course, if you remember, was Higgins on Magnum PI.
Yeah, the real Magnum PI, not that new thing.
Adam is on top of this. Adam knew Boss Hogg. He knew Higgins. He was ready. I mean, he is. He's on the ball.
All right.
So he needs to join for the trivia question sometime.
That's true. He would be excellent.
There will be trivia, and it could be Barbara Streisand trivia, Ryan O'Neal trivia. We will do some trivia next week for the movie.
Ooh. And this might be a pleasant surprise for Adam. You never know.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
So I think we've got a lot. Excellent. Thank you all for your suggestions for the wheel. I think next week will be, of course, fascinating as well. Hopefully, maybe
hopefully we're allowed to have the internet next week. We don't know.
I might propose one rule, and it might be a little hard to keep track of, but it's sort of on our system, is the same person's selections should not come up 2 weeks in a row. So if you spin one of my movies again next week, it's like, no, let's respin.
How about we'll give that person the option to forfeit if they would like.
That's fine.
If that person would like to say, that's twice.
Because it's going to be more fun if we spread this around to people.
Well, I think as we get this list super long, I think it'll
be less of an issue.
I think it'll be very interesting. I'm very curious to see Barbara Streisand in something purposely funny. She
was in Funny Girl. I mean, I realized that was nonfiction,
which I've never seen.
Oh, I got one for next week. Let me write that down.
And she did a Christmas album. That's comedy of its own sort. So.
Well, yeah, she did 3 of them.
There's so many Jews that have done Christmas albums.
I know. Bob Dylan's done a Christmas album.
Bob Dylan, Barry Manilow, Neil Diamond.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
4 East each. Yeah. So yeah, there's that.
Did you step on my joke or not hear it? I guess you didn't hear it.
Sorry. What are we doing on Friday? You got plans for Friday, Dan? What's happening on Friday?
Friday is the post-election special.
Hopefully.
So will it be a celebration or a wake?
Hopefully.
We might not even know at that point.
That's very true. We might not.
We will be counting ballots live.
Yeah.
So Dan will have to sober up and drag himself to his machine here and set up.
Absolutely. So, yeah, excellent.
I love talking television. So always we could talk about some TV shows. There are a lot of shows coming back on the air right now, which is great. They're filming, they filmed in August and September during COVID with new restrictions, and
the Goldbergs restarted.
And
their very first episode was an airplane episode.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, Rick Burdine's head might explode. Where's Rick been? I know it's Monday Night Football right now, but where is Rick? We have not seen Rick. I think he's hiding behind the Trump train.
He's watching waiting. Monday Night Football in the vain hope that Tom Brady will lose to a New York team.
Yeah, which has happened a lot, actually.
I think Rick might come out, on Friday. Could be.
Rick might come out? Is that news?
She might, I was thinking more like the Groundhog and less.
Okay.
Less like RuPaul.
Well, Groundhog Day is on my list of future movies to suggest. Anyway, so
there you go. Well, I think absolutely. I think we definitely need to get to some Bill Murray.
Yes, it's on my short list. Princess Bride trumped it this week, but
good choice. I think that's a strong choice.
You have to say trumped it.
I'm just biding my time. Sorry.
Oh
man. Come on, guys.
You're harassing me.
No.
Joe Moore. Joe Moore.
Joe Moore's getting in pence. Sorry. That's all I had. And on that note,
Tampa Bay is up right now in the fourth quarter. If you're watching, 22-17.
Well, so New York's within reach.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay just scored, so it was actually they were losing. So we shall see.
Ooh. See if Rick's head survives.
All right. Well, we'll find out. That's all I can say is we'll find out on Monday.
Woohoo!
I mean, on Friday.
Yeah.
On Friday.
See what Friday holds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks.
All right. We still don't have a new ending yet, but we'll get one soon.
No, it's on the list. We'll get
Has
there.
everyone voted?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Weeks ago.
Yep. Same here.
Vote early, vote often. Isn't that what they say?
Yes, exactly.
That's absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Eric.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.